Are you lacking willpower, or are your hormones out of balance? Every day I hear from readers and clients, if only I had the willpower to eat healthy every day. If only I had the willpower to exercise every day. If only I had the willpower not to eat sugar every day. This is something I always hear from my clients as well as my readers. My name is Megan. I'm a certified nutritionist and I am the author of the blog Skinny Fitalicious. And every day I coach women and help them balance their hormones. So I want to pose a question to you again. Are you lacking willpower, or is it really your hormones that is causing you to feel like crud and preventing you from having that motivation and willpower that you need? See, a lot of times women especially think about hormones and they only think about the reproductive hormones such as estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. And while yes, those are important hormones, they are not the only hormones in our body. As a matter of fact, when you think about hormones, you have to think about all of them together and how they play together. Thyroid hormones, as well as leptin, insulin, ghrelin, they all work together and the brain controls them. And oftentimes when I coach clients, what I see is in the women that I'm coaching is that they're very stressed out. And that chronic stress actually causes cortisol to go up as well as insulin. And guess what? When your insulin increases, you start to store more fat. This is your body's way of sensing danger and preparing to potentially not get food. Okay, so our bodies are really smart. And so even though we feel like we're keeping up with our day-to-day life, running around, dropping the kids off and drinking a bunch of caffeine to try to get through it, our bodies are really not happy. And having low energy, not sleeping well at night, needing a lot of caffeine, having high sugar cravings, those are all signs that you need to slow down. And I think particularly with women, we tend to take care of everyone else but ourselves. And my mother is a perfect example of this. So I'm going to use her as an example. She always takes care of everyone else first and lets her health go to the side. And I think anyone out there who's a mother or a caretaker or a wife, you know that you just have that desire to help other people and you always want to put them first. But what happens when your health goes in the tank and who's going to help you? You really have to take care of yourself in order to take care of everyone else. That means sometimes you need to slow down or make choices about the things that you're doing so you're not as stressed out. So it's really important. And when clients come to me, one of the first things that I talk about with them and go over is what is their overall well-being? How do they feel day to day? So I want you to ask yourself, on a scale of 1 to 10, how are you feeling? Do you feel really stressed out? Do you feel really tired? Do you have intense sugar cravings? 10 being really high, 1 being really low. If you're scoring an 8 or above, then you need to cut back on some things. And you need to realize that those things are impacting your overall health. They're impacting your hormones. And your hormones have a direct impact on your metabolism, not only on how you feel, but your metabolism, how you're absorbing nutrients, and as well as how you store fat. So this is really, really important. The body starts to store more fat when it senses that you're under distress. So I can use myself as an example here. For over 18 years, I was an IT consultant traveling all over the world. And there became a time when I started losing weight and I just could not stop. And I lost my periods and I just felt like crud. I mean, I worked out every day. I was eating healthy. I mean, I was eating like 3,000 calories a day and I just could not put any weight on. I just kept losing weight and I felt exhausted and I had night sweats and I saw so many specialists. For 2 years, I saw over 20 doctors. And not a single one of them was able to help me. So it wasn't until I saw somebody who specialized in nutrition who was able to put the whole picture of health together for me. And what we realized was that my HPA axis in my brain was actually causing my body and my hormones to shut down because my body was under too much psychological stress. And psychological stress can also result in what's called metabolic stress. So your whole metabolism starts to shut down. Your reproductive system begins to shut down because your body is under too much perceived stress. So whether or not it's the stress of a lion chasing after you, or if it's just day-to-day stress, your body reacts exactly the same way. And this is something that people need to start realizing. And I wish that more physicians and doctors were talking to their patients about stress and how it impacts their nutrition and their hormones and their ability to maintain their weight. I don't feel like enough medical professionals are out there talking about it. And I can say firsthand, it happened to me, so I know what it's like. So in order for me to get my periods back, one of the things that an OBGYN did was put me on high estrogen. And when they put me on that high estrogen, my whole body felt 1,000 times worse than when I originally went and saw these doctors. And that's because all of my hormones were completely out of balance once that estrogen started to kick in. And yes, I finally started to get a period, but I would never recommend somebody do that again. It was the worst thing I ever did in my entire life. And for over a year, all I could do was gain weight, no matter how perfectly I ate or how much I worked out. I could never lose weight because you know what? When your hormones are out of balance, your body does weird things. You start craving a lot of sugar. You start feeling sleepy or you don't sleep enough. You do these weird things. So you need to ask yourself, is it really willpower that's causing me to feel this way? Like I can't get up to work out every day. I can't eat healthy every day. Is that what's really causing my low energy, my lack of sleep, my intense sugar cravings? Or is it something else? Is it something that I can control in my day-to-day life? Can I reduce my stress? That is usually, out of all of the clients that I've coached in the last 2 years, that has been 99% of the time the case. So reducing your stress. And as a matter of fact, when I talk to clients and they first come to me for their first initial consult, that is the first thing we work on. We don't even work on how to eat or what percentage of macronutrients they should be eating. We work on stress because I know from experience personally and from working with clients that they will not lose a single pound if they don't have balanced hormones. It's that important. And as a matter of fact, I've had some clients where I've had to tell them to stop working out. Because working out is also stress on the body. The body perceives working out, even though it's good for you, the body still perceives it as stress. So if you are really, really stressed out, fitness is not going to be your best friend. Doing lower key activities like yoga, walking, swimming, things that are going to relax you and slow you down are the things that you need to do. Those balanced hormones are key. The other part of this I want to talk about is how it affects your thyroid. So a lot of people who are overweight are what's called leptin resistant. Leptin is produced by fat cells. It's another hormone that controls your hunger and satiety. And the problem becomes that when your leptin is out of balance, your body will actually keep telling you to eat, even though you're really not hungry. So that's why a lot of times people have these intense sugar cravings. They're like, I'm eating, and it goes nowhere. Like it's just like empty calories. You feel like you could just eat forever and never feel full. That is because you have become leptin resistant. And it's very normal for people who are overweight to have that leptin resistance issue. So there's some things that I work on with my clients one-on-one to change how they're eating to be able to balance that leptin and insulin resistance, because insulin goes along with this as well. The other thing about the thyroid is that if you are leptin resistant, it stimulates formation of what's called a reverse T3. Okay, so T3 is a thyroid hormone and it regulates metabolism. So guess what? Slower metabolism because your thyroid is all screwed up because your leptin and your insulin are not balanced. So they all play together, and don't ever let somebody tell you that they do not, because they do. Every hormone in your body is dependent on one another. And if they're not balanced, managing your weight, improving your fitness, eating healthy, that really just goes all out of the door. And I can tell you from personal experience, because I've been down this path. It's happened to me. And I went to, like I said, over 20 doctors over the course of 2 years trying to figure out what the heck was going on with my body, because nobody could explain it. And it was super frustrating because every doctor that I saw, they would only look at their little piece of the puzzle. So I would see an endocrinologist and they would be like, oh, this is my piece, the thyroid. I'm not going to look at your reproductive hormones. And so then I'd see an OBGYN and they'd only look at the reproductive hormones. And so no one was tying everything together and saying, oh, wow, these all play together. So it wasn't until I saw a functional nutritionist who was able to put these pieces together. And ultimately, this is why I ended up going back to school to help other people, because it was so frustrating for me that I went around to all these doctors, spent all this money and time, and couldn't get answers. And oh, by the way, I gained like 15 pounds during the course of that time. That was in 2015. And it was so frustrating. I felt so alone because I was like, you know, do I not have enough willpower? Do I not have enough motivation? I'm eating healthy, but I have these intense sugar cravings and I just can't seem to stop gaining weight. I couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. So I want other women to really hear this message and understand that hormones play a big role. So whether you're 20, 30, 40, 50, it plays a big role. I commonly have women who are premenopausal or menopausal who will contact me and do consults with me, and they will tell me that they are avoiding carbs because they're making them fat, which to me is a red flag. Because if you feel like you need to be like on a paleo diet or a vegan diet or avoiding carbs because they're making you fat, that to me as a nutritionist is a red flag that your hormones are not balanced. And like I said, that is the number one first thing that I work on with my clients when we first meet. Because if your hormones aren't balanced, nothing else will work for you. All right, so I've said a lot of stuff to you guys, and I want you to really absorb that, because I think this time of year especially can be really hard for people, especially this part of January. This is when people start to fall off the wagon. And I really want you to dig deep and think about and reflect on how you're feeling. What is your day-to-day wellness like? You know, are you getting enough rest and enough sleep? Are you drinking a lot of caffeine? You know, if you're living off of caffeine, that's another sign. And oh, by the way, caffeine raises cortisol, which I mentioned earlier, also increases insulin, which increases fat storage. So again, if those are some of the things that are going on in your day-to-day life, reflect on that and see how can you maybe change those things. What are a few ways that you can reduce your stress and practice more self-care? So there are 2 ways that I can help you with this. The first way is I do one-on-one coaching with women. We work on balancing hormones, and then we work on switching up how you eat and when you eat certain foods so that your insulin and your leptin particularly begin to function better. So your thyroid and reproductive hormones and everything play better together. So my one-on-one health coaching, the way it works, we get on the phone, we work together for an hour, talking through a lot of different things. We talk about how you exercise, how you're feeling, what your moods are like, the types of foods you're eating, any particular diets or health conditions that are troubling you. A lot of people that come to me do have thyroid disease, but like I said, that all plays into the hormone health. And then the second way that you can get some help from me is I also do meal planning, okay? In those meal plans, what I do is I really work hard to make sure that they're balanced in macronutrients, because many of the clients that are coming to me, like I said earlier, are avoiding certain foods, which is not a good thing nutritionally, okay? If you're avoiding certain foods, your body needs foods for reasons. If you're avoiding them for a food allergy as an example, or for a specific medical condition, that is acceptable. But you don't want to end up in a situation where you are not getting enough nutrients in your diet. And this happens with a lot of people on very specific diets. They're avoiding beans and rice, and they're just not getting the things that their body really needs. So the second way, like I mentioned, is through meal planning, and the meal plans are macronutrient based. So yes, they are lower in calories, but that is really not the main focus of those meal plans. The meal plans are really intended to balance insulin and balance leptin, because the way I have them set up is so that it follows the same process that I use when I work with my clients one-on-one. So you're eating certain foods at certain times of the day to feed your hormones properly so that they're well balanced. So those are called what to eat meal plans. They come in a standard gluten-free plan, or there is a custom plan. So if you have a food allergy, if you have a specific health condition you're dealing with, the custom plan is better for you. But the standard healthy gluten-free plan, like I said, is macronutrient based. There's a ton of people on them right now, and they're all done online. So that is one of the best online meal plans I've ever seen, and I've tried several online meal plans throughout the year. This one is an online portal. You sign up and you go in and schedule your meals. So you'll get 5 meals, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, and then you schedule what works for you on what days, and you print your grocery list. So all you have to do is schedule and print and go shop. So it makes it super easy. And like I said, those meal plans are set up to help balance your hormones. So I'm going to throw some links in this post about, sugar cravings and why carbs are good for you, and, about the ways that you can work with me to help balance your hormones if that's something that interests you. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below and I will answer them as soon as I see them. Have a good night, guys.